dudes and chicks and neither of those don't apply to you. Welcome to Big First Time. My name is Katie. Today, I am going to be duping the vibe of the ColourPop collaboration with the New Moon movie. So the first thing I want to tell you is that I did use some Ensley Rain shadows in my Build Your Own palette. I also used Melt, Bella Beautè Bar, Unearthly, Notoriously Morbid, and Devinah Cosmetics. If you guys are interested in seeing what the palette looks like that I built, then you're just gonna have to stick around through the intro. This is the palette that I built. For those of you who are new here, I don't like palettes to be like, I like my palettes that I buy to be like organized and not take up a bunch of space and stuff like that. But when it comes to like build your own palettes, I always like there to be like a variety of shapes and kind of put things in weird places. Now I'm gonna tell you, I did cheat a little. Last night I built this palette and I actually have struggled to build your own palettes when they're duping other palettes because I see so many different nuances in different photos and blah, 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 blah. So this actually has one extra color, and in the original, the actual ColourPop palette, this color is like a cool tone mauve. It's like purpley, but it's like really light colored, and I just felt like it wouldn't have worked. Like it wouldn't have done anything. Like you can't use it with all these fucking oranges and warm tones. So, and then I added a red because the only red in the actual ColourPop palette is a red shimmer, which I have right here, but it needed a red matte for me. Like it just needed it for my own sanity. I can't have a fucking flat red shimmer and no red matte. That's just doesn't work for me. And then also this in the original palette is a little more orange than this, but I just felt like I could see a hint of pink in it. And so if I fucking could get away with using any pink at all, I did. And so this is Melt, this is Ensley, this is Ensley, this is Melt, this is Devinah, this is Unearthly, this is Unearthly, this is Bella Beautè Bar, Unearthly, Unearthly, Devinah, Unearthly, 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 Bella Beautè Bar, and Notoriously Morbid. So I don't really know what palettes they're out of. If you guys are interested in it, it'll be in the description box below, but let's get into the look. Okay, so I did something a little different today. I primed with my Urban Decay Anti-Aging Priming Potion because my lids are pretty, they've been overworked and they look pretty old. The truth is, I use a lot of my skincare on my lids and you're not supposed to, and normally like it's fine, but I think they're just a little bit agitated right now. And so like I put some things on my lids last night that may or may not have been wise. And so it's not like I'm testing anything. And honestly, I remember the anti-aging primer potion being kind of a pain in the ass, but I'm just gonna use big brushes, fluffy brushes. And I mean, what could go wrong? Like it's all warm tones. What could go wrong? So I'm gonna start with my Sweetie. Oh, is this my Sweetie though? Okay, what color do I actually want this to be? So there was one color in there that looked like it was one of those like reddish oranges that was a hint of pink. And so I actually went like pretty pink with it. I'm pretty sure this is an Unearthly shadow. And so you guys know, I'm like all about that shit. I couldn't tell if that yellow at the end is actually like just a vibrant mustard yellow or if it was like had a hint of orange in it. And so I kind of just put both of these in there just because I figured I could either dip back and forth, or one of those two is probably very similar. It's probably got some sparkles in it or some such nonsense like fucking ColourPop often does. And also let's talk about how I'm still regretful about not getting the original Twilight. So I'm just gonna go into that like pinky red. I was hoping there was a hint of orange in it, but I'm not really seeing it. Shit. I mean, I tried my hardest, but honestly, like I made the palette last night because whenever I do a build your own palette, I always have to take a night to like step back and like think about it, because building your own palettes is actually hard for me. I'm not sure why. Like duping a palette, like I can build my own palette, but duping a palette is really hard for me because of photograph variation and like saturation in photographs and filters, and every single video every single piece of media that I've seen of this palette is actually has like filters and different kinds of effects on it. So there's no real way of telling. Some people have this palette, they're obviously filming with it, and so they are the ones who know what these colors actually are. And so after I slept on it, I just figured, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna put like my spin on it, because you guys know if I can put a pink in, I'm going to. So there. And it's a pretty warm tone pink. It's like, you know, if I went all the way to saturation on this, it would probably look a pretty bricky. It'd be a nice brick tone color. So yeah, I always say like you never want to have to resort to buying a ColourPop palette. It's been a really long time since I've even used a ColourPop shadow, so I don't even know if I still really think that. But I just have always been like a little bit disappointed by ColourPop compared to all the other amazing pigmented blendable indie shades. Now, ColourPop I've never had a problem with blending, but I always feel like the reason why is because it's not very pigmented. So that's fine, it's just not my favorite, and it's inexpensive, but I'm too busy spending all my fucking money on shit that isn't inexpensive. So throwing a ColourPop palette, and honestly, like, I feel like these Twilight palettes aren't inexpensive. They're actually like $24 and shit, which I don't know. I always, every once in a while I go back and see if the original Twilight palette is on the website, and it is. It's still available, and I still wish, I want it. I wish I had a reason to use it. I'm just curious, you know what I mean? I'm curious, is it really good? How many people have it? And also, do we have similar tastes? Like, what one person says is a really good palette doesn't mean, it doesn't make it good. It makes it good to them. And like, you know, who has like comparable taste to mine? Like, what is their opinion? Do you have the same palettes I have? Do you like buy the same palettes I buy? And did you get that ColourPop Twilight palette? Because quite frankly, if you have the exact same taste as I do, then you didn't get it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It still looks interesting to me. I love the color story. I fucking love Twilight. Like, I was really hoping that this one was gonna be cool, but I actually literally under no circumstance can justify getting this palette. It's like, it's not only that it's a warm story, it's more that like, it's mostly shimmers. It's shimmer heavy, and I know for a fact that those shimmers aren't that good. And the reason that I know is because everybody that's done content on it or filmed the reels has used the Super Shock shadows and that crayon. So where the real power is, you're gonna get the real power from this collection, and your look is from the Super Shocks and the, you know, shifty crayons. You know, if the shimmers were good, people would be using them. I mean, is that just, that's a theory, but I would be. I have a hard time using accessories in collections when the shimmers are so good, and that's why they never get used. I don't even know if you guys have ever seen me use a moon duster on my channel of the Ensley Rain launches, and they're so fucking good, but the shimmers are so good that it's like, okay, that looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use one of my Singe Beauty brushes because they're just soft and nice. This one right here. And I think I'm gonna use this and see how deep this gets that. This is a Notoriously Morbid shadow. You guys know there's 6 gear all day long with Notoriously Morbid shadows. Like, you can, they build and build and build. Like, you can pretty much get it like so much dimension. If you just continue to apply, it'll get so dark in the outer V that, you know what I mean? Like, you can use a light color by Notoriously Morbid and get so much dimension in the outer V. I think there's like 7 mattes. So the other thing about that ColourPop palette is they're like all super warm tones, like warm like the sun warm. And then there's that fucking cool tone purple mauve-y color. It's like, that's never gonna go anywhere. So I didn't put a mauve-y purple in there. I had one, I put it in there, but it's like, it just looks so aesthetically bad to me. And also, because it was just alone, you know what I mean? An alone mauve purple in a fucking room full of fucking, you know what I mean? Also, it really didn't fit the, it didn't fit. It just didn't fit. It just didn't work, and it didn't fit. So there was like no justifying putting it in there. I'm curious, you know, like, does anybody know, like, what are the thought processes that go behind these color stories? Like, I know a lot of people are gonna say like, oh, well, it's ColourPop, there's no thought process. But like clearly a team got together and like someone said, oh dude, what about this one part? What's up? See a ghost? I actually think this house might be haunted because my cat is constantly meowing at really strange things. And you know how they're like on the other side of the veil, and you know we're all about that life, so. So instead of putting the mauvey purple in there, I put this in there. And honestly, for those of you who want to save your money and not get the collection, like if you're all about the collection and you, especially if you already have the original one, if I already had the original one, I probably would spring for it, honestly. And I wish I did. So, but if you are like into it kinda, but you don't want to buy a ColourPop palette, if you have the Just a Taste palette, the color story is way better. It's basically along the same lines. Like I actually wonder if the fucking director of ColourPop wasn't fucking sneaking up to Amanda's fucking house and like looking in her window and shit while she was like coming up with this, or like getting on her lives and being like, oh my god, that's our new moon collab. You know what I mean? Only make it ColourPop. So like, oh, if it's that good, they'll know we didn't come up with it. Now dumb it down a little so it doesn't look like we stole her idea. You know what I mean? So honestly, like the vibe is there and the color story is just way better. And obviously the quality of the shadows is way better. Now, if you don't already have the Just a Taste palette, obviously it's like, I don't know how much the Just a Taste palette costs, but it's substantially more expensive. But I'll tell you right now, if I was sitting here without it and fucking this palette came out, I would be buying it. Hands down, period, I would be buying it. And quite frankly, if I wouldn't have got it, I would have bought it. I buy everything. I buy everything that Unearthly comes out with. Sometimes I buy things that Unearthly comes out with and then I get it in PR, but I'm just scared I'm not going to get it. And it's not because I have FOMO, it's because she's never launched any fucking thing at all that I haven't liked. Never. Not one single thing. I love the color stories, I love the quality, I love the shimmers, I love the themes, everything about every Unearthly launch. There's either a ghost in here or like a mouse or something in the walls. Sorry, I don't know if mice freak people out. They don't carry the plague, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess they carry disease. I'm so sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I swear. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna drop that right now. I'm gonna drop that right now by casually saying I just lied. No, actually I didn't lie. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I didn't even know that was a thing. I just don't, I've never like needed to get a vaccination, and neither, got the ones I was born with. My kid, I waited until she was older to get her vaccinations. Like I didn't just like let somebody fucking stab a bunch of needles with fucking bird blood in it on the day she was born. You know what I mean? I didn't. But like she has her vaccinations right now. So anyways, I digress. Stop right now before I lose what people stayed with me. I actually didn't know that was a thing until somebody made a comment in my comment section talking about one of the political parties and how this one person like was anti-vax, and I was like, wait, like we were talking about all these other things and then you want to throw anti-vax in? I swear to God, I'll fucking be canceled for sure. Like, I'm just not a big rule follower. And I also never get sick, so I don't really think that much about like medicalness. Obviously, like probably a lot in part due to my history. So I'm gonna make this super like romantic and like just like rich right now. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go like, well, for one, I'm gonna go in with this. This is from the Gemini palette. I'm gonna use this Big Fatty by Singe. Oh, this is gonna look fucking good. You know, the Gemini palette is actually like a really good performer. If you would have told me when I bought the Gemini palette that melt palettes were never gonna fucking blend for me again, I wouldn't have believed you. But then everybody all had those problems with them getting like moldy or whatever, but I never had that problem because I feel like I didn't get my Gemini palette until it was way out of style. And I obviously got the Gemini palette because I believed back then that it was my style. And to tell you the truth, the Gemini palette is like not my style. It's like not even close. Like I'm not even into it at all. Now, I've never done a look with it that didn't look beautiful. on myself or anybody else. And I do feel like the Gemini palette is like a really good palette to use on certain other people. I've used it on my friend, and she has like blue-green eyes that are like bright, and dude, she looked haunting with that fucking makeup on, like, you know what I mean? So it's like a great palette. It's just not, it's not a color story that I love, and I never have loved it. I'm sure I've used it on my channel though. This is looking beautiful. Maybe you should get it. But why would you get it if you could just make it? If you could just dupe it? Now, I'm not the kind of person to like have 17 fucking palettes sitting out in front of me. And it is also substantially more difficult to like build your own palette. It's so hard to build your own palette. I don't know. How many of you guys do that? How many of you guys take your fucking magnetic pans and like actually like create new color stories with them? Because honestly, it is really hard for me. I'm not sure how people fucking do that shit. It's like, God. It's like, oh my God, Katie, overthink much? The last build your own palette took me, you know, a full, I fucking spent like 8 hours. I spent a full day and then had to sleep on it and then went in and like changed a bunch of shit. So it's really difficult for me to dupe a palette because like I see so many different colors and then I'm like, no, that has a little more orange in it than that. Oh no, that has a hint of pink. Oh, that's that fucking pumpkin-y pink that I love so much. Like I just get so caught up in the details and like, you know, so last night I just decided, here's the deal. I'm going to dupe it. I'm going to dupe the vibe and then I'm going to like make it Katie because I can, because who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? But I do feel like the colors, I have all the colors in here that I feel like are very fucking close to the exact colors. And then I went in and I changed out this one. I changed out this one and I added this red because there's no red in it. It looks like they're red. Oh, here's another thing about ColourPop palettes. Every fucking time I see a ColourPop, the initial reveal of a ColourPop palette, I'm like, oh yeah, there's that da-da-da-da-da. And then the second time I see it, I realize it's a fucking shimmer. So there's no red in the palette. There's just a red shimmer. And so what are you gonna get? You know what I mean? You're gonna get a brown look with orange, and then you're gonna throw a bright red shimmer on there, and you're not gonna have anything to like pull it together. Now that might be some people saying it looked good with the black, with the Super Shock. It's not gonna look bad. It's just like doesn't make any sense to me why anybody would do that. Now I'm just going back in and I'm going to this is the pink. It's actually not exactly pink, right? It's like that romantic, like dusty rose color, but it's like, I thought there might be a little orange in it, but there is now. There's orange in it now. Is it making my blue eyes pop? I feel like orange doesn't really make my blue eyes pop like some other colors do. And I'm going to deepen it up right here. Damn, this looks really good. You know, this mustard seed yellow actually reminds me of like, like golden tassels on a like smoking robe or something. You know what I mean? It's just like that like swanky kind of golden antique vibe, like golden tassels on like long rich velvet drapes or something, you know. I mean, I kind of look like long red velvet drapes with golden tassels on them right now, don't I? I mean, are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? All right, now I'm gonna go into this red and I'm gonna put that in the inner corner. Why do I always have to do it? Why do I always have to put like a red and then I look like a fucking parrot? Is that what's gonna happen right now? There's no way. There's no way that I could end up looking like a parrot with this fucking look. No, that actually looks really fucking sinister. Oh yeah. Not to mention, this is the color of the eyes in Twilight. This is the color of the eyes of the people that... No, this doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna just go around and kind of wrap this in this like mustard. Oh, that looks fucking good. What did I do here? You don't want to fuck around with red. Did I dip that in the red? I think I fucking did. Stupid. I'm just gonna really pack this mustard on there because I think I actually dipped my brush in that red. Dumbass. You know, if there's one thing you can count on a melt shadow to do is fucking pack on so fucking hard that like you can't even get it blent out, so. That ain't going anywhere. Man, that looks fucking hard as fuck. That red went hard. So you can't get this look with the ColourPop palette because it doesn't have a red. Sorry, I guess I didn't think of that. But the point wasn't really to get the ColourPop, it was to dupe it and maybe make it better, right? Maybe improve it. It's pretty undeniable that almost every palette ColourPop's ever come out with could stand improvement. There's room for improvement. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. I'm just saying, like, it feels like every single ColourPop palette, like, just, it's almost like they forgot to add this, or like, they put it on the press and they were like, oh my god. Like when the newspaper fucking writes a story about a big drug raid, that the police did a big drug raid and they like sent the dogs in and ripped the house apart, but then they forgot to write the part about how the cops had the wrong house. That's how ColourPop does palettes. It's like the most critical thing that they always forget, or like they just don't put it in there. Like, why do they do that? But that's just my opinion. Maybe they're doing it right. I feel like that looks stellar. Am I right? Here, let me just make sure that everything is like super blent. I'm just gonna go in with more pink. Just not because I want it to be more pink, but I just want this blend to be like perfection. And I'm just backing off my grip, you know, how I do. Okay, I'm gonna try to break this, the ME2. I'm gonna try to give it a little break in here. So I think I'm gonna use this purple. I was gonna go in with the black, but I just don't feel like this brush will be good enough. Plus, the purple will give it a really nice contrast against that mustard seed yellow. Because you guys know, I am definitely not doing another purple and yellow look. I am definitely not doing it. No matter what I say, do not let me put purple and yellow together again. No matter what. Did that add any dimension? Does that look a little deeper? Why do I feel like my dimension isn't going above my dippy poo? Well, maybe ColourPop will really nail it for Valentine's Day this year, because if you guys remember, they did the Twilight launch and then actually like right away launched their Valentine's Day launch, which was like super lame. And it kind of fell into the shadow of all the scrutiny they were under because of the Twilight launch. And Twilight was using like that Quileute should get compensated for any money that ColourPop made, and that Stephanie Myers, the person who wrote the thing. Anyways, it was like a big ordeal. And so their Valentine's Day launch was like kind of lost in the clamor of that. And then I feel like the year before, the ColourPop Valentine's Day launch was really good. And so it was just kind of disappointing compared to the one before. Sometimes I wish I wasn't so close-minded about ColourPop because I could jump on these launches and actually like score some really good palettes, but I'm always like so jaded against them. Okay, so the shimmers I have in here were the closest that I felt like I could get. I saw a lot of nuances and like undertones that may or may not have been there. I feel like Alice was definitely a yellow with some pink rising up. There was definitely just a regular brown shimmer. There was a gold, there was a red, a solid red, and then there was like so there was a gold, which this is the gold with the reddish shift. There was a reddish with like some orange tints. And then there was like an orange with some red tints. It was like the opposites. It was like red with orange and then orange with red. And then a gold with red, yellow with pink, and a solid red. So that's just what I saw. And then there was like a green. This is going to be fun. This looks beautiful. Why do I feel like it's melt? It's the melt. It's melt. I feel like I look dirty right here. It's melt. It never fucking fails. It's fucking melt. Now, you guys know I don't really care for... I just don't really care for a solid red shimmer. They're cool. Like, it's cool. They're just not for me. It's just not what I'm drawn to. So this color, Eternal Flame or like Immortal Flame or whatever... Immortal Flame, this is one of the coolest colors from my entire year, like I felt like. So I have a lot of really good shit in here, and I'm gonna use my peaches, because now I'm a little gun shy. I'm gonna use the P. Louise Cut Crease brush to apply my peaches glitter primer. This is a little thinner, and it actually like cuts the crease because it actually is like, it kind of cleans out the area a little bit, if you know what I mean, because it's a little bit wetter. And now I'm gonna go in with, should I try Angelica Nyquist's Singe Beauty Brush. I'm gonna go into Immortal Flame by Unearthly. This color is so fucking fire. Okay, this brush is picking it up all right. Now I'm gonna go into this Bella Beautè bar, which I'm sure is probably from either the Vamp or the Poison Garden, and it's picking up on the brush nicely. It just doesn't do what these Zoeva brushes do. I'm going in with my Zoeva 234. Look at that. Look at the difference. It's just never disappointing with my Zoeva brushes. You know what I mean? And look at how quick it just went on there. It's a fucking shovel. It's a shimmer shovel. I don't know what it is. Somebody actually mentioned that they use their Rephr 02 to pick up shimmers. And I already had my Zoeva brushes before I ever got a Rephr brush. And so no brush compares to these except the Jessups, which are almost an exact dupe. They're an affordable dupe. You can get them on Amazon. If anybody's curious on those, they're natural hair brushes. They're like, the set was $16 when I bought it. It's probably way more now, but not super expensive. It's probably like 28 bucks for like 16 brushes. It's a crazy deal. Yeah, like I just was like, this is one of the best colors that I got all year. And then I put it on and it was like, didn't look like nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like it when I grab a brush and I go to put a color on that's the best color I used all year and fucking tell you guys it's the best color I used all year, and then it just looks like a flat ass orange. Whoa! Man, ColourPop really came up with a good palette. That looks fucking awesome. I'm going to just spray this because I can't stop myself. God damn. I'm just going into Bella Beautè bar, give a little spritzy poo. That is like hellfire. Hellfire. Okay, now I'm gonna go back into that Notoriously Morbid shadow, and I'm just gonna use that to kind of... I'm gonna use this Blend Bunny brush, and I'm gonna go into this Devinah shadow. I'm not sure what it is. I'm gonna put that on the lower lash line. It does have a green shift, which is cool because there is a little bit of green in the palette, and there should be. So I have to assume that the pink that's showing through on the color called Alice is what it is. And this is the Devinah shadow. Oh, it's Gumbles. And this is the shadow that, like, when I did a collab, a full moon collab with Nikki Raven, one of the ones we did, we both used Gumbles as the moon shade, and I don't remember what full moon it was, but we both were like, there was no other color. Gumbles was the only color for that, and we both like used it. So obviously there was some truth to it, you know. That looks amazeballs. I'm gonna actually add some of that on my cat hair, on my brow bone. You know what? I'm gonna give that a little spritzy poo too. Kind of covered up that red, but oh well. Here, let's just go in and fucking reinforce that red. How about that? Oh wait, it's not supposed to be there anyways. It'll be our secret. All right, I'm gonna go finish the rest of my face and I'll be back when I'm done. So this is the manifesto, the pièce de résistance. I use those Salon Perfect Siren Eyes. I use my e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush in Copper Etiquette, my Unearthly Cosmetics highlighter in Eternal Ember, Unearthly Cosmetics lip liner in Bad Blood, ColourPop cream gel liner in Be My Baby, Be My BB, and my Unearthly Cosmetics satin liquid lip in Gnarly. This look, I'm not trying to be fucking funny, this look is actual fire. Like, I look so pretty. My lips look amazing. Everything perfect. Highlighter perfect. Everything. So I'm not really sure what to say. I mean, that was it. I duped the palette. I threw a red in. I fucking cheated. I cheated. And honestly, like, if you were looking to get the ColourPop palette just for the aesthetic or whatever, then do it. And also, I think you could do better with, I don't give a fuck what you've got sitting at home. I know for a fact you've got browns and yellows. So basically the ColourPop palette is just browns and yellows and then just your good shimmer shades. And so I guarantee, I don't care what shimmers you've got sitting at home. It doesn't matter. Whatever shimmers you have sitting at home, I guarantee you, you've got a gold and an orange and a, like, you know, red. I bet you anything. And so I think you could dupe it if you're in love with the idea or whatever. I'm in love with the idea, but I'm not gonna get it because it just looked too, I would be disappointed. Now, the other one, I might have been disappointed by the performance, but I was not disappointed by the color story. And I still am curious as to whether or not I would actually like that palette. You know, I feel like what ColourPop did is they take their shimmer shadows in their palettes and their super shock shadows are actually something that's up to par with what we're used to here on this fucking channel. And then like what's in their palettes is not really, I don't know, but maybe that's, I feel like they have actually gotten less good of quality of shimmers in their palettes than it used to be. So maybe that's just our perception because the quality of shimmers in palettes today is like, give you a fucking eyegasm and shit. So anyways, I love this look. I love the palette I created. I rarely do a warm tone look that I don't fucking love. This is fire, actual fire. Like I look like I've just risen from the fucking ashes. So I love it. I love my lips. They look so pretty. This is the palette and honestly, I was just thinking, I never say that I have a discount code. Like sometimes I just end up putting it in at the end. Like I'll just like throw it into a text thing. But honestly, I have discount codes to every single one of these brands except Melt. And I was thinking like, God, how stressful would that be to have a discount code with Melt? You'd be really carrying a burden. At least 50% of the time you would be trying to fucking get through a look and like, never, you know, never. You guys would see people scream crying all the time. Like, but anyways, so I have a discount code with Ensley. I have a discount code with Unearthly. I have a discount code with Notoriously Morbid. And I have a discount code with Devinah. I just got it last night. And I also have a discount code with Bella Beautè Bar. So it's lost. The only one that varies is my discount code to Notoriously Morbid is LOSSED15, lost 15. And then all the rest of them are lost, LOSSED. And I'm not like trying to give a shameless plug. I just literally never remember. And I have a lot of new people here. So like all my discount codes are listed in the bottom. And I also have like affiliate links down there, but they don't have discount codes. And so I just never tell anybody about them because I like business ventures to go both ways. Like you make a little bit of money, I make a little bit of money. Bitch, I'm an ex-drug dealer. Like I like everyone to make money. You know what I mean? So if you guys can save money and I can make a little bit of money, then like that's like square. I don't have no shame in my game like telling people about my discount codes. I just literally never remember. That's everything. This turned out so good. I guarantee you this turned out way better than the ColourPop fucking version of this palette is going to be. But maybe it isn't about that. Maybe it's about the Twilight theme. Maybe it's about the new moon theme, which that's what it's about for me. I would really want this palette. I just know I wouldn't like it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because you can't wait to see what happens next. Hit the like button if you like this look, or if you just like my sparkling personality, my boyish charm, and hang out with me in the comments because I fucking love it. If you got like halfway through this video and you're like, oh my god, she is so pretty till she opens her big fucking mouth, then go check me out on Instagram. I don't talk as much on Instagram. And thank you guys so much for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you were here wasting your time with me. And I totally appreciate you. Later. Slayer.